Have you ever wondered why the tennis ball is yellow? Well, because of television, a famous environmentalist, and a retired tennis pro. Let's dig a little deeper though. For a long time, modern tennis balls made from felt, rubber, and pressurized air were either black or white, depending on the court surface and its color. That began changing with time, and a majority of tournaments and players were using the white tennis ball. That same white tennis ball was seen across the world for the first time when tennis was broadcast on black and white TV in 1937. In a few short decades, tennis was about to undergo a dramatic number of changes, one of which was the switch to yellow tennis balls. But what does that have to do with David Attenborough? Attenborough oversaw Britain's transition from black and white to color TV. Tennis happened to be an integral link to this transition, with his touch of genius changing the trajectory of the sport forever. Before his stint hosting natural history shows and documentaries, in 1966, David Attenborough was the controller of BBC Two, and he had been pestering the UK government to launch colour TV broadcasts. His efforts paid off, and he was tasked with launching the service within 9 months, a painfully short timeline to ensure that they were the first to have colour in Europe. Attenborough recalled that colour cameras were used for outside broadcasts. He quickly realised that the best place to deploy them would be at Wimbledon.
But there were all kinds of problems, not the least of which was the fact that we had hardly any colour equipment. One studio, one outside broadcast unit, and a machine for showing colour film.
On July the 1st, we start colour launching, and those will be advertised programs, and they will be our documentary films, Wicker's World, for example, Man Alive, The Virginian, and also, most importantly, outside broadcasts.
A national event of international prestige, Wimbledon was chosen to be the first event in the UK and the first ever tennis event to be broadcast in colour. And it was a smashing success. There was only one problem though. The ball was barely visible. While people marvelled at the colour of the grass, the stadium and the sky, the white ball was practically invisible, especially when it hit the white lines. It didn't help that the balls would eventually turn slightly green due to green grass stains on the ball. Attenborough picked up on the visibility of the ball being an issue and recommended that fluorescent yellow balls be used instead. With colour TV now in the mainstream and visibility during broadcasts being close to deal breaking, the ITF had to seriously consider changing the colour of the tennis ball. Mike Davies, a former pro and an upcoming influential tennis administrator, implemented a slew of changes in the WCT tour that he had become in charge of in 1968.
WCT presents the best of World Championship Tennis.
Recognizing the role TV would play in the growth of tennis, Davies got rid of old traditions to benefit viewers at home and introduced new ones to benefit the sport. He got rid of the traditional white clothing in favor of coloured clothing to help differentiate between players for viewers at home. Davies also added a 30-second time limit between points and a 90-second change of ends every 2 games that allowed commercials to air on TV. He was also the first to implement the tie-break in pro tennis, but most crucially, the tennis ball was now yellow. Soon after, in 1972, the ITF mandated that tennis balls would either be yellow or white, and tournaments around the world quickly adopted yellow. Wimbledon, ever so slow to embrace change, continued using white tennis balls until 1986. Attenborough might not have had much to do with tennis before or since his dance with Wimbledon, but his colourful touch and Mike Davies' foresight led to the yellow tennis ball becoming the recognizably iconic face of tennis around the world.